Hey guys, my name's Jason. I'm the founder of The Perfect Arm. So let me take you back to how this all started. When I was a kid, baseball was life. I had two older brothers I idolized that played, wanted to be like them. My dad coached, my mom was on the yearbook staff. So I was around baseball all the time. Loved the Atlanta Braves, Smoltz, Glavine, Dale Murphy, Ron Gant, Steve Avery, those guys. So naturally I wanted to be a pitcher. I played year round as much as I could, and then around about age 12, that's when I started getting some tremendous arm pain. And I noticed that season to season, some kids were throwing harder, other kids were throwing their arms out. So I was really determined to kind of find a solution. As I kept playing through the years, through high school, college, and beyond, I still had this terrible elbow pain and also started to experience shoulder pain. So I tried compression sleeves, I tried bracing, I tried throwing progression programs, creams. Nothing seemed to work, and I even went to cortisone shots. But the tough thing is the demand is so high and the throwing volume is so high that really I couldn't take enough stress off my elbow or shoulder to not have these injuries. And at that point I realized I just can't throw anymore, so I had to stop playing baseball. This turned me to training athletes. So from this point I learned all I could about musculoskeletal mechanics, the physics resistance mechanics, just everything about the way athletes function, because I was determined to find a solution. I've basically lived in a sports lab for about the last 20 years. So with all the testing and research that I've been doing, I realized that there's a lot of protective devices out there. We have batting gloves, we have helmets, we have groin protectors, a lot of braces, but we don't have anything for the biggest problem in baseball, the thing that keeps us on the field, and that's the throwing arm, so the elbow and the shoulder. We've been doing a lot of testing, data collection. We're using the same evaluation methods as Major League Baseball and the top sports labs. And we finally, I feel that we've solved that problem as far as offloading elbow stress and keeping athletes healthy, and now we have the perfect arm. So here you can see with pitchers how compromised the elbow gets and also the shoulder, but this is for all positions, so it's also for several sports as well. But just to show you here, these pitchers, there's not a pitcher on earth that can stand there and actively get their arm all the way back that far. So in that passive range, we don't have muscular control. So what happens is all that stress, the stress of the arm and the ball, goes to the passive connective tissue, which is going to be the ligaments, so the UCL, and that's of course Tommy John surgery and a kid's Little League elbow. Internal view, so again, we're looking at the medial elbow. So the UCL connects this right here, the ulna, to right about here at the elbow, so just past this medial epicondyle. So as the weight of this arm and the ball goes back and this humerus torques forward, you can see right in there that separation. That's what's called a dynamic valgus. So again, the ulnar collateral ligament attaches those two bones together. So Ben Hansen, that used to be with Modus, now he's with the Chicago White Sox. He's done some great research on fatigue unit models. So even if you're feeling good, as these forearm flexors fatigue, because that's all that we have crossing over that medial elbow, so as those fatigue and the muscles can't stabilize the joint, all that stress goes to the ligament. So again, as this is going back and that humerus starts to torque forward, that's why we get that big dynamic valgus or distraction force on the ulnar collateral ligament. So looking at the sleeve, what we're able to do is now we have an external muscular system. So we have two axes that we can look at. We can look from superior to inferior. So we can call this horizontal adduction. Some people call this extension. Not only that, but if we look from lateral to medial through this humerus, when we're in that kind of layback phase, you can see this coils up a little bit, but we also have almost a new muscle over this medial elbow. So we already have a muscle like this in our lower extremity. It's called the sartorius. So it's a two-joint muscle, and it does something very similar to this. We just don't have it to reinforce that until now. So with the kinetic arm, we have that new muscle that crosses over this medial elbow. So the further back this goes, the more of a compressive force we have that's going to offload stress from that ulnar collateral ligament and also relieve some of the stress from the forearm flexors that are trying to keep that joint compressed there. So also, if we talk about a free body diagram in mechanical engineering, we'd have a stick and a ball. So what we have here, where this attaches, is another vector, a line of force. So we're almost halfway up this lever, and we're drastically reducing the force that it would take to protect this medial elbow. So a lot of different ways this works as an external muscular system. Every way your shoulder would naturally function, as far as having an external rotator cuff. Again, we can adjust this we can move this patch over. So if guys are on a return to throw program, post-injury, post-surgery, they can get a little bit more assistance, and that would be with acceleration. And then we can also move it over this way more if they want less assistance with the throwing with acceleration, and they can get more assistance with deceleration and slowing the arm down. So there's a lot of great functions that the sleeve does. So here, right after he finished throwing with the sleeve, he takes it off, we can see the velocity goes up. So we have a neurological adaptation, or we could call it post-activation potentiation, basically similar to the overspeed training concept. So with weighted balls, there's a lot of controversy. There's data showing, it is increasing the injury rate, but there's no controversy surrounding overspeed training or offloading. So essentially that's what we're doing. So the brain adapts to that limb moving faster through space, and you can see when we take it on, we have that carryover effect. So the velocity goes up, and you'll notice the elbow stress is still lower. So 84.52, 81.65. So that's how it increases velocity. It's also going to offload the stress from the shoulder and elbow while we long toss and throw at 100% max effort, allowing the rest of the body to kind of get more conditioned, so we can also get more game speed reps in during practice.
平凡な高校球児がある練習法で球速を上げドラフト候補に。レジースミスが推奨するメジャーリーグ流のトレーニング。レジーの理論で正しい基礎を身につければ確実に目標に近づけます。弊社はレジーの理論が実践できる本場メジャーリーグで使われている数々のトレーニングギアを販売しています。そのトレーニングギアがあなたの野球人生を変える。